inauguration
Elections always are happening, especially in Kentucky. They have elections every year.
All
so
the time.
Yeah,
we'll be back and forth, but
That's
anyway.
right.
And it is very important that we do, guys, and I said that last hour, we cannot forget our strong obligation. It is an opportunity that has not come at small cost. Number
That's right.
one, our right to vote has come at much sacrifice. And so for us to shirk that responsibility in such a critical election year, we are going to do everyone who has paid that price a huge disservice.
Yeah. And if we don't vote, then as people of faith, we can never say that our voice has been silenced by someone else when we silenced it ourselves.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons that we did this, especially here on WFIA, is to say that people of faith and families should be involved in this process from the beginning. And we have. We've brought you the news, and we've brought you all of the election coverage that you need. And, of course, speaking of people of faith, Donald Trump had a meeting yesterday with leaders of faith from across the country. Various faiths as well. I mean,
yes.
it was a very good meeting, a very productive meeting from the members who were inside. It was not live coverage by the media, but they did a lot of interviews afterwards, and they say it was very productive. So I'm looking forward to Hillary's meeting of leaders of faith. I think
that would be interesting.
Is that going to happen?
We're not yet.
Oh,
but we're asking her to have a meeting. And I think that and I tell you, there's a lot of those leaders who are in that room who would be happy to sit down with her and tell them their concerns. I know Franklin Graham is one of them.
Right.
So I think that she should have it. And I think
absolutely.
I think she needs to hear from these leaders.
And let's don't forget, needless to say, but because we're basically talking to a faith community with this radio show, but not only are we obligated to vote, we are obligated to pray.
That's right.
And everybody needs to be praying for our nation. There's never been an experiment like this.
That's right.
And there's never been an experiment like this that has worked as well. I was listening to a radio show host this week and talking about, what are we, 200, are we 250 yet? We're not even 250 years old yet, are we?
No.
240 maybe, 40-something.
Yeah.
And compare us to those countries that are thousands of years old, those societies. Look at the technology and the industry and the worldwide benevolence and protection that this experiment has given. Why is that? And I think it's because of freedom.
Well, we have the freedom, and we clearly have the grace of God. The only two
That's
countries
right.
that have that. Israel has had its innovations as well, and they're
Sure.
here by the grace of God. So and that's an issue that we should be praying about as well.
That's right.
The
That it
state
doesn't
of Israel.
go away.
Yeah,
Doesn't go away.
Well, Israel's always
Israel
been
and the
surrounded by
US.
Enemies.
hostile people.
Those same enemies we talked about in the
Yes.
first hour, about them giving money over and over again to these leaders. That's another reason. And of course, we do give money to the state of Israel. I do not believe that we should stop funding the state of Israel, as
No.
it is the only democracy in the Middle East. It is a strategic ally. But we have not been friendly to our ally Israel over the last 8 years, and I pray and hope that's the one thing that happens out of this election, is that we finally have someone who's going to be friends with our ally Israel once again.
Yeah.
571-2428, 571-CHAT. That is the number that you can call today. It is an open line, and you can comment. You can ask questions. We did, in the first hour, play a couple of sound bites from the Trump speech today. Again, I didn't whet Gary's appetite to gather any from Clinton's yesterday. That is my bad, but Garrett has brought several comments from that presentation of hers. And of course, we're talking about everything. We haven't even really scratched the surface yet about some of the things that are hot topics that are going on in this political race this year. And but I do want to broach immigration. Mm-hmm. I think it's a concern, mm-hmm. and it might be even more of a concern after the events of Orlando. It certainly should be, but can you already tell that it's kind of dying down a little bit? I mean, it's been, I know it's still being talked about somewhat, but, the alarm of people, it's dying down a bit.
Well, the news
already.
cycle, we face it, the media drives that, and that's what they do.
Well, I tend to think it might drive it a little bit, but I tend to think that Americans' hearts are busy. I believe we're distracted by life.
Well, that's what I mean, though. We have gotten into this pattern of something big happens and it blows up and we get the news, mm-hmm. and then it subsides, so the American public also reacts that way. Mm-hmm. We think that way. It's excitement down. It's like living on a roller coaster.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other issue is the Democrats successfully changed the topic from anti-terrorism and national security
to gun control.
Again, and I predicted that here on the show, if you remember. But it's got to be more than gun control. Of course, they were trying to get a bill.
4 bills, and we talked about that last week, and we said to call, and they were defeated. There are other bills that are going to go before. Now, the big thing out of Congress today when it comes to gun control is the Democrats in the House of Representatives are holding a sit-in as we speak.
They're actually sitting on the floor.
On the floor of the House, saying that no bill, no break is what they're talking about. And I want to say to them, I think that they owe me some credit. Not because of the bill there, but because, and this is what infuriates me about the whole problem, is they're going to have a sit-in. Mm-hmm. Where were the sit-ins with the VA healthcare crisis, with the fact that people could not get onto the exchange to purchase their mandated health care once it was mandated of them, the fact that we don't have a budget, the fact that we didn't